guys, in today's video I am going to be talking about what I've learned about being a military spouse. This is actually part 2. If you are interested in seeing part 1, feel free to pause this video and go watch that. I will link it down below. I talked about going through basic training, going through a deployment, how to keep your brain intact during separations and stuff like that. I also talked about like PCSing and like moving from different duty stations and that sort of thing, and kind of what to do to prepare for that, and kind of tips that I wish I would have known. So if that interests you, then feel free to pause and go watch that and then come back to this one and watch part 2. I ended up having way too much crap to talk about, which I tend to do because I am a chatty Cathy and I talk forever. So I decided to break this up into 2 parts for you guys so you don't have to sit here for like an hour and listen to me talk, because that's not fun. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump back in to all of the things. So we left off the last video talking about when you first get to a duty station and things to kind of prepare yourself for that and how to plan ahead. I talked about my experience with, we didn't have a plan. We didn't know that we needed a plan. We had no idea. And when we first got to Texas, we had only what could fit into our tiny little car, and we ended up having to stay in a Motel 6 for over 30 days. Not fun. And it took them a month to find us a place to live, and it took them 2 more months for all of our stuff to get here because we made that mistake. So one thing that we found super helpful that wasn't on any sort of like army blog that I found, we actually heard about it through word of mouth from somebody else on base, is that most bases, almost all bases, are going to have what ours is called the lending closet. And it's for just families who were in our situation, who just got here, and we are waiting for all of our crap to come on a truck. You know, we were left with basically nothing. We had nothing really. We had like clothes and like our like iPads and laptop and like, you know, that was basically it. And we didn't have, like, we came to Texas with nothing because we were under the assumption that our stuff was going to be on a truck the next week. So we did not have any sort of plan or anything. So what the lending closet is donations from past people who have PCS'd here, and you go and all you have to do is just you give them your name and information, and they basically give you this tub of things that will hold you over until your stuff arrives. And in it includes cups, utensils, plates, a toaster, pans, just simple things like that you wouldn't think, you know what I mean? Or that you don't want to invest money in if you have it coming to you. You know what I mean? Like, I already have a toaster. I don't want to buy a toaster. Oh, my child is awake. Hold on. Say good morning. Good morning. Alright, we're just gonna have a baby in our lap because she doesn't want to just sit in a crib, so it's probably gonna be real distracting. Okay. What was I saying? Okay, so the lending closet is super helpful. It is free, and they also were really kind and extended our time having the things because it took so long for our stuff to get here. Like, it took like 2 months, and that is absolutely ridiculous. But they just basically said, whenever you get your stuff, then you can bring back our stuff. And they have all sorts of different things there for you to just rent until you get things, or until you're able to buy what you need, that sort of thing. So it was super duper helpful. If you are in that situation, I definitely recommend that. Because like I said, it wasn't something that was like part of the like orientation packet or anything. Nobody told us about that. Like, you know, from his leadership. It was just like from word of mouth from another soldier that was like, hey, blah, 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 there's this thing available for you if you want to take advantage of that. And we sure did, because it was really nice to have that and not have to just like go buy everything to hold us over until our things got here. So there's that. Another thing that is really cool that they offer is, like I said, I don't know if it's called the same thing at all bases, but ours is called Junior Enlisted, and it is for all soldiers and families that are E4 and under. Yeah. It's for all soldiers and families that are E4 and below, and it's basically like the Goodwill, except it's free. And yeah, she's like looking at me like, Mom, what are you talking about? So ours, and I'm sure it's kind of similar setup on other bases, but ours, it's open 3 days a week, like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from like noon to like 3 or something like that. And it's just strictly donations from people who lived here and are now PCSing elsewhere and they don't want to take it with them, or like I've even donated to their just like clothes that we don't wear anymore, or DVDs or books or whatever. And you just go and you get to take a certain amount of things every day for those 3 days that they're open. So you can like take like, I think it's 10 items, and some things count, like multiple things count as one item. Like you can get like 5 books and that counts as one item, or you can get like 3 DVDs and that counts as like one item, or like clothing. And sometimes they have like, we got a TV. They have like DVD players, computers, just like all sorts of things. They just have pretty much anything you can think of. It's just been donated from other families who have PCSed and have moved on, and it's completely free. I remember the first time I went there, we had just found out that I was pregnant, and so I got a pair of maternity pants, and it was awesome. So that's something really cool, and it's also a way for you to, you know, if you're a military wife like myself, and if you don't work or whatever, and you want like an excuse to kind of get out of the house and kind of like whatever, shop, and even though it's like free shopping, you know, that's a really awesome way to spend your afternoon 3 days a week. Yeah. Another thing that if you want to be involved, I'm not so much the type that likes to be involved in things. I kind of like to just do my own thing. I don't know. Well, I don't know if it's like a social anxiety thing or if it's just like a weird hermit thing, but I don't really like to be involved. But there are people out there who like to do things and be involved in things. If you are a military spouse who wants to be involved in like planning activities or being a part of your military spouse community, there is what's called FRG, which is Family Readiness Group. And FRG, like each company has an FRG, which is just like a group of mostly women, because it's usually like wives, you know, wives of military people, who they plan activities, they plan org days, they plan like fundraisers and events and everything. So if you really want to be a person who is involved, or if you want to go and like meet other people, like friends and that sort of thing, that is a really good way to do it. And like people in FRG meet like, you know, multiple times a week, like at the Starbucks or like juice place or whatever, and it's just a really nice way to meet people and to be involved and kind of like have something to occupy your time, because there are a lot of military spouses like myself who don't work, and they want something to kind of fill up their day with. You know what I mean? I have plenty to fill up my day with. I don't need work. This is like my 4th coffee today, I'm not even gonna lie to you. The addiction is real. Okay, the last thing I wanted to talk about is like the pros and cons of living in military housing. We've only been to this one duty station. We haven't moved yet. And so we've only lived in military housing. But I have friends who live off base, so I feel like I kind of have an idea of the pros and cons of living off post or living off base. And then obviously I have my own personal opinion since I live in military housing. We technically live off base. Like, we live in military housing, but it's not within the gates of the base. But it's still like policed by military. It's, you know, completely run by military housing and that sort of thing. So I feel like some pros of living in military housing. It's very easy because you don't pay utilities. You pay for your own like internet and or like cable if that's something that you want to have. But as far as like electricity, water, gas, heating, trash, that's all like included in, you know, your BAH, like your housing allowance. So you don't have to worry about like paying those sorts of bills on time, which I mean can get a little like taxing to, like, you know, you have your own like credit card bills and all that, Netflix subscriptions and all that stuff. So like having less bills to have to worry about every month, that's definitely a plus for me because, you know, you have a lot of other crap on your mind and you don't have to worry, oh my God, did I pay the water bill? You know what I mean? So that's definitely a plus. Also it's a plus because rent is automatically taken out of your spouse's paycheck. So you don't have to worry about having rent in on time or it being late or like having to write a check and take it down to the leasing office. Like I've lived in apartments for many years before. So like I know how like stressful that can be to make sure that you have the money in your account or that the check's not going to bounce or that you get it to the house, like the leasing office on time or all that stuff. So living in military housing definitely eliminates the stress of that because it's automatically taken out of your spouse's paycheck, so you don't even have to worry about it. They basically like take out the middleman and just take the money. And it's easy squeezy. Another pro of living on military housing, I feel, is that it's like, I definitely feel a little bit safer. I feel like I'm not living just like in a random neighborhood in a town that I don't know anybody type of thing. Like there's definitely more of a sense of community because everyone who lives here is also military. So I feel that kind of like safety net of, you know, it's not some like random person that's like scary and or like a drug dealer living next door. It's another military family. Like one of my husband's really good friends lives across the street. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's kind of cool. It is also a really great way for you to like meet your neighbors because you already have something in common type of thing because you're, you know, all part of the same community. So that's pretty cool. Something that goes hand in hand with that is that you kind of have less privacy, I guess you could say, because you're living in military housing. The walls all kind of like touch and there's only military around. So it's like if anything happens, it's kind of like you know, in those like old sitcoms where it's like something happens, so like all of the people like look over the fence to like see what's happening. It's kind of the exact same thing where if like a military police unit shows up down the street, like everyone's outside to see like what's happening. Or if like you hear arguing, like you want to know what the deal is. Everyone's very nosy because you're all, you know what I mean? So there's kind of that, which you don't get in a regular neighborhood because people don't care. People don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Also, a con, I guess, would be of living in military housing is that you can't do what you'd like with the inside of your house as well as the outside of your house. There's regulations, there's restrictions. Like you can't just have whatever you want in your backyard. You know, because they want somewhat of a uniformity and things like that. So you can't just like have whatever you want in your backyard or your front yard. They will come and they will tell you to like, you know, clean it up or take it down or put it away, as well as the inside of your house. You can't like paint or anything like that, because it's like not your house. But that kind of goes along with like renting in general. Most people, if you're renting from, won't let you like paint the walls. But you could also like have whatever you want in your backyard if you rented elsewhere. You know what I mean? So things like that. Pets are totally allowed. Cats, dogs. Most people have or I think most military housing have a restriction of 2 dogs only. We break the rule. We have 3. Shh, don't tell anybody. But YOLO. We've had a ranger for a year and nobody said anything. So. I mean, we've lived in this house for about 2 years now, and I enjoy it. I mean, yeah, we have cinder block walls and we have really crappy floors, but I mean, I think that it's easier than, you know, and it was what was available to us when we first got here, so I'm definitely not complaining. And it's nice that we're so close to the base that it takes like less than 10 minutes from Trev to get from our driveway to his company, so that's convenient and nice. Would I choose to live in military housing in our next duty station? Yeah, absolutely. We'd probably even choose to live on base, like within the gates instead of off. So I definitely, I'm not complaining. It's nice. It's better than, you know, living in some crappy tiny little apartment. You know what I mean? Because I've seen some friends that we have's apartments and they're tiny. So we have a 3-bedroom house, so it's pretty nice. So that kind of wraps up this little video here, or this long video, I should say. It's not little. But overall, I guess what I would say about what I've learned being a military spouse is it's very challenging, but it's also very rewarding. You know, having the opportunity to be a stay-at-home mom is not one that is easily obtainable. Not a lot of women can do what I can do. I get to stay home with my little nugget all day and play with my dogs and make YouTube videos for fun. And there's not that like need for me to work because my husband makes enough to provide for our family. That's pretty awesome. Not a lot of people have that luxury. So that's nice. I mean, and it does come at a cost because our life is not ours really. We live day to day where things can change at the drop of a hat. He can get a call tomorrow saying that he has to go halfway across the world to fight a war. You know what I mean? So what's the saying? Like, with great reward comes great sacrifice or something like that. I don't know what the saying is, if that's even a saying, or maybe I'm just making crap up. But it is very challenging, but it's very humbling, I guess. Trev and I, we were a couple before the Army. We were together for 2 years before he joined the Army, and we were strong then, but we had no idea that how strong our love for each other was before, and the things that we have conquered individually as well as a couple because of the Army, and the things and the hurdles that we've come across in this life, in this Army life. It's kind of astonishing, and I'm very proud of us. And like I said in the last video, you know, me 10 years ago, I would never, I thought that I could be even a military girlfriend, let alone a military wife. And just because I didn't know my own capabilities and my own strength, like as a woman or as a wife or even as a person, because this isn't for everyone. Not everyone has the ability to just be separated from their loved one for months and months and months on end. It's not for everybody, but if you... I'm almost done. I'm trying to be very poetic and heartfelt and stuff, and you're just ruining it. So, okay, I guess this is just her way of saying, Mom, you're done. Don't be afraid if you're about to be a military spouse, because it's challenging, yet amazing and rewarding, and it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be okay. You're gonna make it through. Just stay positive, make friends, you know, you're gonna be good. You're gonna be okay. Australia, give him a thumbs up. Saying you're gonna be okay. All right, well, that wraps up this video. I hope that you found it interesting and or helpful if you are going to be in the situation, or if you are in the situation, or you're just interested, or whatever. If you like this video, then please give it a thumbs up. And if you liked me, then please subscribe. I will list down below all of my social medias along with the part 1 of this video if you missed it. If you're a rebel and watch them out of order, ooh. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.